All right, ladies and gentlemen, we continue our coverage as Jordan vows revenge for the the horrific murder of their pilot, who was captured by ISIS in December. And you may recall, just about a week or so ago, there were negotiations going on. The 2 Japanese hostages, then the 1 Japanese hostage who was not beheaded at the time, in exchange for the captured Jordanian pilot, and the exchange would be for one of the women who Jordan was holding as a would-be suicide bomber who participated in an attack, but her vest didn't go off anyway. Jordan demanded proof that their pilot was alive, and of course today we find out through a video and pictures released by ISIS that not only is he dead, but he was burned alive horrifically in a cage. They say it happened, Jordan does, in early January, possibly the 3rd of January, which would have made any negotiations absolutely moot. Joining us now is AJ Delgado, columnist at the Miami Herald and National Review. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Steve.
This kind of thing, we had one guest earlier who said, I think it was Steve Emerson, who said, we've become almost immune or used to the beheadings. They don't faze us, so ISIS has decided to take it to another level.
Well, Jordan certainly doesn't feel that way. They're up in arms, and rightly so. And I think it should faze us, because what we've seen today is they're willing to execute in a horrific manner those from fellow Muslim nations that are willing to take that step and fight ISIS. So this is a new turn of events. Up until now, we'd seen videos concerning American, British, Japanese, but this is now Jordan, a Muslim nation that's being punished for daring to stand up against ISIS. They're being told by ISIS that they're standing with the Crusaders. Right. So it's really incumbent upon us to now more than ever stand with our allies and those in the Muslim community and around the world that are brave enough to take a step against ISIS, because look at what they're getting in return.
And I agree with you. And this should outrage us almost as much as it outrages the Jordanians. We've had Americans beheaded in these videos. There's been Brits and now Japanese and now the Jordanian. So when I hear and see our president say, "Oh, this is just another example," you know, the organization, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he should be pounding his fist the way Jordan is and saying, "You will incur the wrath of Jordan. You will incur the wrath of the United States and the coalition. You will not get away with this." But that's just not who is leading our nation.
No, listen, these type of people seem to only react and respond to an eye for an eye, which is what Jordan knows, right? So they're saying, okay, you're going to do this in a few hours. This woman, this Islamist jihadist that we've had in our prisons that we were willing to trade, we're going to execute her. See how you like that? Meanwhile, our president is just the usual kumbaya type of, well, let's not overreact.
What time is the golf tee off?
Exactly. They've just burned a man alive who was helping us, being a hero, and helping us in our U.S.-led coalition, was burned alive. I feel like we're back in the Middle Ages.
And that's lost. I think that's a great point, because his reaction should have encompassed the fact that this man was part of our coalition.
Exactly.
Like, could have been one of our pilots.
It almost is in a way.
He would have reacted the same way if it was one of our pilots.
That's the scary thought.
Way.
That's the scary thought. And we've seen this even 10 years ago with the horror that happened with Nick Berg.
Yeah.
Liberals always constantly say, well, let's not jump and overreact. This is just a very small minority, et cetera, et cetera. And we're facing a horrific threat that I think more than ever, every day, especially today, we need to realize that even those of us who aren't war hawks like me necessarily, this has become very, very serious, very frightening. We need to take drastic measures.
Something else that's very frightening that you've written about, and that is the discovery that the federal government, since 2009, has issued about 5.5 million work permits to illegals. There's going to be a congressional investigation about this at the very least. This government, they came in with a plan, they've continued their plan, and their plan's working.
Well, we know this administration doesn't care anything about our immigration laws or enforcing and maintaining the integrity of that system. We're supposed to have about 1 million legal immigrants and about 700,000 in guest worker work permits that we issue every year. They've issued an additional 5 million on top of that. And it's especially hurtful when you think that just today, Gallup has admitted that yes, the 5.6 unemployment rate is incorrect.
The CEO of Gallup said today, as you correctly allude to, that it's a bunch of baloney, and it's misleading, because for all the reasons, workforce participation, people taking lesser jobs, etc.
People that have given up on looking for work, people who are underemployed, who are only working part-time but would want to work full-time, those numbers are not included. So you get this great, oh, look, Obama has a 5.6 unemployment rate. Not true. It's probably double, maybe even triple that. And so it's particularly hurtful and shocking that when the unemployment rate is still so high, and now we've seen folks on the other side of the aisle admit that, that we're giving out work permits to people who aren't Americans. It's almost a dereliction of duty. His duty is to protect protect Americans and give us jobs.
And, you know, the minority community has screamed a lot about the immigration plan of Obama hurting their community even harder when it comes to employment and unemployment. And this is only going to hopefully wake them up even more than they have been complaining. Thank you. Always great to see you.
Steve. Always a pleasure.
And we will come back, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back, we will be joined by the one, the only, the host of the Savage Nation. Michael Savage will be here. He'll weigh in on this. We recorded this a little bit earlier before he went to air. So look forward to that.